Hi everyone, it's Angie. Welcome back to my channel. I've got a custom prayer journal for Sandra that I want to share with you. I've got her initials on the front here and all kinds of textures, some fuzzies, and I just love the all the textures on this. This was actually a linen and lace placemat that I bought at Goodwill, and I added, of course, lace and some scrapbook paper and some upholstery fabric. This is actually some snippets of curtains, and there they are. I have an old songbook from 1884, and I cut out Be Joyful and some music. And this is a bit of a vintage hanky that I cut up to put on there. And loads of seam binding, which I did not tie in a bow because I find it hard to undo it on camera. So let's go inside. Here's the book plate. I always like to put a book plate where you can put "This book belongs to," and just some snippets and some tags. And I love these pieces of doilies that of a doily that I have that is shaped of a cross. I love to put those in my prayer journals, and then more lace across the bottom of the page. And I love these little jewelry, pieces of jewelry for a page that I found at a yard sale. I'm not sure what they are, but I love them. This is a Pinterest graphic. Some sewing. I love to sew on paper. It's one of my favorite things to do. And you can see I like to do different stitches. I'll start out with one stitch and then go with another. I love that. And then here is our first scripture tag. I think this might be Tsunami Rose, but I'm not sure. I've had it for a long time. And just a pretty little tag. And an envelope that I made from scrapbook paper. And more of that stitching. And some stamping and a little file folder that you can write some things in and put in there. And a tag that says "O Zion." This is the gratitude, declaration page. I make different pages, different tabs for my pages in my journal that I want to designate as pages that you can write things down. This is, for instance, affirmations, like you want to do affirmations or declare things over your life that you want to see. For instance, for the year 2020, I am going to spend more time with my family. I declare more family time in our lives this year. And just a lace pocket. And then there's a jewel or a bauble hanging off. And this is more of that music, Hosanna, just with some bits and some embroidery and little snippets. I call these bits and smidgens. I made a video recently of those, about those, how to make them. And this is just a tag with her initial on there. And this is one of my scripture tags. I love these. These are one of my favorite things. I put the scripture, the identifying scripture here, and then put the words on the back. Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. And then I just cut this out with a Sizzix cutter, and that's actually a piece of cracker box that I use. And more of that stitching. Another scripture card. And more pockets to stick things. Now this is the gratitude page. This is where you can write things down that you're grateful for in this little booklet. And all the paper, I forgot to say, all the papers are tea or coffee stained to give them that scrummy, yummy, scrummy crunch to the paper. I love that. Here's a little bauble hanging off. This is a lacy envelope that I make from a square doily, and that's what I'll put her letter from the journal maker. I always write a little letter to send along, and there's an altered paper clip, and this is just part of an old book that fell apart that I used several places in here. I couldn't bring myself to just throw it away. I loved it. This is a security envelope. I don't know if you've ever made one, but they're fun to make. And I made this one from an old, well, if I can get it undone here. Made this one from an old map page. And they're just fun to put little treasures in. I'm sorry for that. My iPad's making noises over here. I forgot to shut it off. This is one of my favorite scriptures. It's Proverbs 31, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. But my favorite is verse 28 when it says, "Her children arise and call her blessed." And just some fabric, and you can journal under here if you like. This is the end of the first signature, and then we're going into the second signature. Now, what I like to do in my prayer journals is I make them with elastic cord so that, let me find the signature, the center, so that when you fill this up with all your writing, you can just slide it out and add more. So this is all just, I leave this second signature blank. I did emboss, use my embossing plate on this. But the rest of this paper in the signature is, I do some stamping and maybe a little lace here and there, but it basically is blank so that you can journal there. Now, I also make writing boards for mine because these are pretty chunky journals. I always include a writing board so that you can stick it behind your page so that some of this doesn't make it difficult to write. More snippets here. And I love these. I do these, this is in my Bits and Smidgens video too. I love the effect that this gives. It's simple, but I love the way those look. And if you watch any of my videos, you know I always try to include a corset in my journals. I just love the corset pages. And this is a dangle tag. If you've seen those that I made on a video, this one says faith. And then another little gem hanging off. And more of that stitching and a lace flip. And this is more of that old map. This here is made from a brown paper napkin. The ruffle on the top. If you saw my last video, we were traveling in the car, and I got a coffee, and I used, it made me think while I was working on things in the car to use that brown paper napkin, and I also used the coffee sleeve here, and I'll show you that here in a second. This is the praise page. This is things that you can write in your little file folder. You can write things that you answered prayer. It's easy to forget, and it's nice to go back and see when he answered prayer that you had forgotten about. And a tea-stained doily. Now here's that coffee sleeve used like I was talking about. I love the texture this gives, and I love that it's smaller than like big corrugated cardboard. I really like the way those Bits and Smidgens with those come out. This is another scripture tag. This one is my favorite scripture, Zephaniah 3:17. The Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. I think about God singing over me, and that just gives me chills when I think about that. Get some stamping. And more of that paper napkin. another smidgen. This is the middle of the last signature. I really like this paper. I love that old dirty blue. I just love that color. There's another scripture tag and a tuck. This is more of that book I was telling you about that fell apart. I just loved that. It's even got some bits of the cheesecake on there. I just love that, so I made it into a tuck. And there's more of that coffee sleeve in this page. I started to say that was a prayer tab, but a tab page, but it wasn't. This is the prayer list page. You can journal things that you need to remember in prayer, people that you need to remember in prayer, things that you need to pray about. Another piece of that book. And more stitching. This I found in an antique shop. I'm not sure if this was like a small glasses case. It's kind of small, but I think their glasses were small back then. I'm not sure if that's what that was, but I added some bits to it and added a tag in it. I thought it was really pretty. I loved it. And I thought it would make a great bookmark for her. And I missed a page. More of that coffee sleeve. And another snippet. This is the last page with another scripture tag. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I loved making this. I hope it blesses her. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you would leave a comment, I just love to hear from you all. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.